it. When you walk in my face, I'ma tell you they ain't it. When you see me out, yeah, all my bitches lit. All my bad bitches on deck, take a pic. Class A doing the.
A rapper's family speaking out after she was found shot to death in Atlanta. Why they say she was targeted. Hey, thank you so much for joining us here on 11 Alive and streaming on 11 Alive Plus. I'm Faith Jesse.
And I'm Cheryl Preheim. We begin with a story you'll only see here on 11 Alive News. A rapper's family identifies her as the woman shot to death in Southeast Atlanta.
That's right. 11 Alive's Chase Howell spoke to the family who believes she may have been targeted because she was pregnant.
And it's moments like this that are helping them deal with her death.
Generally, if you met Lily, you instantly loved her. And she was such a jokester, you know. She liked to laugh and she always cracking jokes on me.
A quiet residential street, Springside Place Southeast, the kind of block where people have gone to bed, where porch lights flicker, where the world is supposed to be still. And then gunshots. 4 of them fired directly into the face of a woman sitting in her white Range Rover Sport. By the time Atlanta Police Department officers arrived, she was unresponsive, multiple gunshot wounds, declared dead at the scene. She was 36 years old. She was building something, a music career, a business, a nursing degree, 2 semesters from the finish line. She was on the dean's list.
She had like 2 more semesters to go.
And she was 14 weeks pregnant. Her name was Qualeisha Barnes. The world knew her as Siditty. And what happened to her on that dark Atlanta street in the early hours of a Wednesday morning is one of the most heartbreaking, infuriating cases this city has seen in recent memory. Because this wasn't random, at least that's what her family believes. And when you hear the full story, you'll understand why. Who fired those shots? Why was a pregnant woman sitting in her own car executed in the middle of the night? And what do investigators know that they haven't yet told the public? We're about to break it all down. Stay with me. To understand what was lost on April 8th, you have to understand who Qualeisha Barnes actually was. She grew up in southwest Detroit, Michigan, a city that doesn't produce soft people. Detroit sharpens you, and Qualeisha came out sharp, ambitious, and determined. She went by Siditty, a word that means glamorous, high maintenance, unbothered, and from every account the name fit perfectly. Her mother, Francine Lopez Stewart, put it simply, she loved makeup, she loved dressing up, she loved beauty, she was Siditty. But she was far more than an aesthetic. Qualeisha had built a real career in Detroit hip-hop. She'd collaborated with heavy hitters, Icewear Vezo, Babyface Ray, Peasy. Her track Get a Check with Peasy showed real range. She wasn't just writing features, she had her own voice, her own lane, her own audience. At the same time, she'd founded an online retail business, So Siditty Boutique. She was CEO, she ran operations, she had her brand locked. And then, driven by something deeper, she enrolled in nursing school. This woman who was already managing a music career and a boutique decided she wanted to add registered nurse to her resume, and she wasn't coasting through it either. She made the dean's list. Only 2 semesters remained. She was so proud of herself, her mother said, and we were so proud of her. Around a decade ago, she made the move from Detroit to Atlanta. Metro Atlanta became home, and when she died, she was not just a rapper or a businesswoman or a nursing student. She was 14 weeks pregnant. She was building a future on 3 fronts, and every single one of them was stolen from her in less than a minute. Her sister, Shatara Davis, said it best, "That was my sister, that was my baby."
Hand in hand in prayer, the family of Qualeisha Barnes asked God for strength while coming to terms with her senseless killing.
Let's go back to the early hours of April 8, 2026. It's just after 1 a.m. on Springside Place Southeast in Atlanta, a residential area, houses on both sides, driveways quiet. Qualeisha Barnes is in her white Range Rover Sport. According to the Atlanta Police Department, officers responded to a call at approximately 1:23 a.m. What they found when they arrived was devastating. An adult female inside her vehicle, unresponsive, multiple gunshot wounds. EMS pronounced her deceased on the scene. But here's what makes this case particularly chilling. The family disclosed what police had not yet fully confirmed. Qualeisha was shot 4 times in the face, not in the body, not in a chaotic spray of gunfire, in the face, 4 shots. That level of precision, that level of directness, does not suggest a stray bullet. It doesn't suggest a random robbery gone wrong. It speaks to intent. A neighborhood resident, Mevlin Mapp, told Fox 2 Detroit that he heard 4 or 5 gunshots and then immediately saw a Honda speed away up the street. A Honda, not Qualeisha's Range Rover, a second vehicle, one that arrived, did its damage and fled. Atlanta Police, LT, Christopher Butler stated that it appears someone fired into the vehicle. He said it did not appear to be self-inflicted. The case was immediately classified as a homicide. Investigators spent hours on that street, processing evidence, reviewing surveillance camera footage, knocking on neighbors' doors, attempting to trace the vehicle's movements in the hours leading up to the shooting. Here's what we know about that Honda. It hasn't been publicly connected to a named suspect yet. Here's what we don't know: what Qualeisha was doing at 1:23 a.m. on that street, where she had been, who she had seen, what had happened in the hours before those 4 shots were fired. And that gap, those missing hours, may hold the answer to everything. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed her identity. The cause was multiple gunshot wounds. The manner, homicide. 2 lives ended in that car, and Atlanta had another unsolved murder on its hands. As of this recording, Atlanta police have publicly identified no suspects. No arrests have been made. The investigation is ongoing. But the family of Qualeisha Barnes is not waiting in silence. Her mother, Francine Lopez Stewart, went on camera with 11 Alive News and said something that stopped people in their tracks. She believes more than one person is responsible for her daughter's death, not just the shooter, but whoever set this in motion. If you instigate something that causes a murder, she said, then you need something. I think you need to go to jail too. That's not grief speaking carelessly. That's a mother who believes she knows, at least in part, what happened and why. So what do we know about motive? The family told reporters they believe the attack was targeted, not random, not a robbery, not a case of wrong place, wrong time. They believe the pregnancy played a role. Think about that for a moment. Qualeisha was 14 weeks pregnant. That's a fact her family disclosed. And according to Hot New Hip Hop, which spoke with family sources, the belief is that the pregnancy was connected to why she was killed. What does that suggest? It narrows the suspect pool significantly. This wasn't a stranger crime. Pregnancy-related homicide almost always involves someone from the victim's personal life, someone who knew she was pregnant, someone for whom that pregnancy was a problem, a threat, or a complication. Law enforcement knows this. It's one of the most documented patterns in domestic violence, homicide. The CDC has consistently found that homicide is one of the leading causes of death for pregnant women in the United States, and that in a majority of those cases, the perpetrator had a personal relationship with the victim. Qualeisha's mother took it further. She doesn't just believe the shooter is responsible, she believes there was coordination. Someone instigated it. Someone may have set her up, may have told the shooter where she would be at 1:23 in the morning on that specific street. The Honda seen speeding away by a witness suggests at least one other person, possibly a getaway driver, was involved. And here is where the case takes on another layer of urgency. The Atlanta Police Department confirmed they are reviewing surveillance footage in the area and canvassing for additional witnesses. They have also asked residents to check their own home security cameras. LT, Butler specifically encouraged members of the public to come forward anonymously through Crime Stoppers Atlanta. But no one has yet come forward publicly with information that has led to an arrest. That means whoever did this, possibly multiple people, is still out there. And they know exactly what they did. Here is what makes this case even more significant than it already is. Qualeisha's mother did not just grieve on camera. She made an accusation, not of a named individual, but of a type of person, someone who instigated the murder, someone she believes should be criminally charged. In Georgia, criminal liability doesn't end with the person who pulls the trigger. Under state law, a person who directly conspires or solicits a murder can be charged as a party to the crime. If someone arranged for Qualeisha to be at that location or passed information that enabled the shooter to find her, they could face serious charges. That legal reality gives her mother's words weight beyond grief. There is also the matter of the Honda. A second vehicle at the scene, seen by a witness, reportedly fleeing the area immediately after the shooting, is potentially the most actionable piece of physical evidence in this case. Surveillance footage in the neighborhood may have captured that vehicle, license plates, direction of travel, time stamps. Atlanta police have not disclosed whether the Honda has been identified. But here's what investigators will be working: cell phone records, social media activity, location data, and any communication records that might place specific individuals in proximity to Springside Place SC on the night of April 7th, moving into the early hours of April 8th. A second critical detail: the precision of this shooting, 4 shots to the face. This was not random gunfire from a panicked shooter. This was targeted, which means someone either knew how to shoot or was close enough to the vehicle that precision wasn't required. Either way, this was planned. And planned murders almost always leave a paper trail. The question is whether investigators can find it, and whether anyone in the community is willing to speak up before that trail goes cold. As of the time of this video, no arrest has been made in the murder of Qualeisha Barnes. The Atlanta Police Department has confirmed the investigation is active and ongoing. LT Christopher Butler has asked the public, anyone who may have information, anyone with home security footage, anyone who heard or saw anything on Springside Place SC in the early hours of April 8, 2026, to come forward. You can submit tips anonymously through Crime Stoppers Atlanta by calling 404-577 tips. You do not have to give your name. You do not have to appear in court. You just have to speak up. Because here is the reality of unsolved murders. They go cold when communities stay quiet. They get solved when one person, just one, decides that justice matters more than fear. And justice absolutely matters here. Qualeisha Barnes was not a statistic. She was not a headline waiting to happen. She was a daughter from Southwest Detroit who moved to Atlanta and refused to be just one thing. She was a rapper. She was a CEO. She was a Dean's List nursing student 2 semesters from graduation. She was a woman who was 14 weeks pregnant, building a future for herself and a child she never got to meet. All of that, every single possibility, was taken from her in the space of 4 gunshots on a quiet Atlanta street. Her family is demanding justice. Her mother is demanding accountability, not just for the shooter, but for whoever set this in motion. Her sister is grieving the loss of her best friend. And somewhere out there, there are people who know exactly what happened that night, who that Honda belonged to, who made the call, who pulled the trigger. If you are watching this and you know something, please use that anonymous tip line for Qualeisha, for her unborn child, for her mother, her sister, and everyone who loved her. This case deserves resolution. This family deserves answers. And Qualeisha Barnes deserved so much more than what she got on April 8, 2026. Rest in power, Lila. Detroit made you. Atlanta failed you. We will not forget you. Now I want to hear from you. Based on everything we've covered today, the targeted nature of this shooting, the family's belief that more than one person is responsible, the pregnancy as a potential motive, and the Honda that sped away, what do you think really happened that night? And do you believe this case will be solved? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Share this video. Keep Qualeisha's story alive, because the more people who know her name, the harder it becomes for this case to disappear.